जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद। जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीपरमानन्दं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं साधनां हरिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पदां सहगण ललिता श्री हे कृष्ण करुणा दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी सुते देवी वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री गदाधर शिवासादि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णहस्ताय श्री गिरिराजाय विष्णुपदाय कृष्णहस्ताय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रसादिनी मुखम करोति वाचालं श्री गुरु। So we are reading from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 2. So should we just get a few verses to complete? So this is the ecstatic manifestations of Lord Chaitanya. And so actually this is a summary of Anjali, a section of Anjali. So text 92. Shanshepaya Shatra. I have to remember now it's true, right? Shikala, you read. I've forgotten the truth.
संक्षेपे सूत्र केलो यही हानाली आगे ताह करीबो विस्तार यति तो दीना जिए महाप्रभुर कृपा होए इच्छा भरी करीबो विचार। Did I go on?
Yes, read.
In Hindi.
Yeah, read in English.
ओके मैंने इस अध्याय में संक्षेप में अंत्य लीला का वर्णन किया है। जो कुछ बच रहा है उसका विस्तार से वर्णन भविष्य में करूंगा। यदि श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की कृपा से मैं इतने दिनों तक जीवित रहा कि मैं अपनी इच्छाएं पूरी कर पाऊं तो इन लीलाओं पर पूरी तरह विचार करूंगा। हरे कृष्ण। थैंक यू। गोन ओके। छोटो बड़ो भक्त गणा वंदो सो बार श्री चरण सबे मोरे कहो करहो संतोष स्वरूप गोसाई रमत रूप रघुनाथ जाने यत ताई लिखी नाही मोर दोष। मैं यहाँ छोटे बड़े सभी भक्तों के चरण कमलों की वंदना करता हूँ। मेरी उनसे प्रार्थना है कि मुझसे संतुष्ट हो। मैं निर्दोष हूँ क्योंकि मैंने स्वरूप दामोदर गोस्वामी तथा रूप और रघुनाथ दास गोस्वामियों से जैसा समझा है वैसा ही लिख दिया है। मैंने उसमें अपनी ओर से न तो कुछ जोड़ा है न कम किया है।
Okay, all right. Let's let us read. We'll read the English, right?
Okay.
According to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there are three kinds of devotees known as Bhajana Vidya, experts in devotional service. Bhajana Shila, devotees engaged in devotional service. And Krishna Nama, Name Dikshita Krishna Nama Kari, initiated devotees engaged in chanting. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita begs the mercy of all these devotees and asks them to be pleased with him. He said, let the neophyte devotees, the devotees who are very expert in arguing, though they have no sense of advanced devotional service, who think themselves very advanced because they imitate some smarter Brahmana, let such devotees not be displeased with me, thinking that I have committed errors in this regard. I beg their pardon with great humility, but I am submitting that I personally have no desire to add or subtract anything. I have only written what I have heard in the disciplic succession because I'm dedicated to the lotus feet of previous acharyas like Swarup Damodar, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Rupa Goswami. I have only written what I have learned from them. All right. Anupama Madhvi, you can read.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Dvaitadi Bhakta Vrinda Shire Dhari Sabara Charana Swarupa Rupa Sanatana Raghunathera Sri Charana Dhuli Koru Mastaka Bhushana. Translation. According to the Parampara system, I wish to take the dust from the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. I wish to take the dust of their lotus feet upon my head. In this way, I wish to be blessed with their mercy. Text 95. पानयान राज्ञाधना व्रजेर वैष्णवगणा वन्दोतान् मुख्या हरिदासा चैतन्या विलास सिन्धु कलोरेरायिक बिन्दु ताराकाणा कहे कृष्णदासा. Translation. Receiving orders from the above authorities and the Vaishnavas of Vrindavan, especially from Haridas, the priest of Govindaji, I, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, have tried to describe one small particle of one drop of one wave of the ocean of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta reports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, second chapter, describing the ecstatic manifestations of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. So, Indira Radha will start chapter 3.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 3, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's stay at the house of Advaita Acharya. In his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the following summary of the third chapter. After accepting the sannyas order at Katwa, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled continuously for 3 days in Radha Desh, and by the trick of Nityananda Prabhu, eventually came to the western side of Shantipur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was induced to believe that the river Ganges was the Yamuna. When he was worshipping the sacred river, Advaita Prabhu arrived in a boat. Advaita Prabhu asked him to take his bath in the Ganges and took him to his Advaita's house. There all the Navadvip devotees, along with Mother Sachi Devi, came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This house was located at Shantipur. Mother Sachi Devi cooked for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And at the same time, at that time, there were many joking exchanges between Advaita Prabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. In the evening, there was a mass Sankirtan at the house of Advaita Acharya Prabhu. And Mother Sachi Devi gave Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's permission to leave. She requested him to make Jagannath Puri, Nilachal, his headquarters. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu granted his mother's request, and followed by Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda, Jagadananda, and Damodar, left Shantipur. Bidding farewell to Mother Sachi Devi, they all proceeded toward Jagannath Puri, following the path of Chitrabhu. Next one.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Chen.
Vyasambita yut pranayota goro Vrindavanam gantu mana brahmadya Radhe Brahman Shantipurim ayitva lalasha bhakter iha tam natosmi. After accepting the sannyas order of life, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of intense love for Krishna, wanted to go to Vrindavan, but apparently by mistake he wandered in Radha Desh. Later he arrived at Shantipur and enjoyed himself there with his devotees. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Prabhu, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas. Next 3. Chabisa Vatsara Shesha Ye Maghamasa Tara Sukla Pakshi Prabhu Karila Sanyas. At the end of his 24th year, in the month of Magh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the sannyas order during the waxing period of the moon. Text 4.
So Mahaprabhu was 24 years old when he did sannyas.
Very young.
Eh, Yes, read.
Text 4. Sannyasa Kari Prema Vishe Chalila Vrindavan Radha Deshe Tina Dina Karila Brahman. After accepting the sannyas order, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of intense love for Krishna, started for Vrindavan. However, he mistakenly wandered about in a trance continuously for 3 days in the trackland known as Radha Desh. Purport: the word Radhadesh comes from the word Rashtra, or state. From Rashtra, the corrupted word Radha has come. The part of Bengal on the western side of the Ganges is known as Radhadesh.
Raj, it's Radh Desh.
Hmm?
Not Radha, it's Radh Desh.
Radha. Why I was reading a bit, why corrupted word? Radha. Yeah. Okay, it's not Radha. Radha Desh. Another name is Pondradesh or Pendodesh. The word Pendo is a corrupted form of the word Pondra. It appears that the capital of Rashtradesh was situated in that part of Bengal.
We know. We even have a temple Radhadesh, right? Belgium temple is in Radhadesh. So, so anyway, I don't know where they got it from. And it's actually it's a Radhadesh.
No, the one in Bruxelles is Radhadesh. No, not Radha.
Yeah, so I don't know from where they got that name, Radesh. Actually, it's
No.
it's Rashtra. It's Rad. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Shashi, you want to read now? Text 5.
कृष्ण मते हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
এই শ্লোকা পढ़े प्रभु भाविरे अभिषा ब्रह्मते पवित्र काइले सबह राधा desha. Passing through the tract of land known as Radha Desh, Sri
Not
Chaitanya
Radha,
Mahaprabhu
no?
cited
It's not Radha. It's Radha. Radha.
Radha. Okay,
Yes, Radha. Yes.
Radha Desh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited the following verse in his essay. Etam sa asthya paratatma nishtham adhyashitam purvatamir mahabhihi aham tarisyami duranta param tamo mukundangri nishi veyayava. As a Brahman from the Avanti Desh said, I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nations by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas, who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. In connection with this verse, which is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.23.57, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that of the 64 items required for rendering devotional service, acceptance of the symbolic marks of sannyas is a regulative principle. If one accepts the sannyas order, his main business is to devote his life completely to the service of Mukund Krishna. If one does not completely devote his mind and body to the service of the Lord, he does not actually become a sannyasi. It's not simply a matter of changing dress. In Bhagavad Gita 6.1, it is also stated, Nastrya karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. One who works devotedly for the satisfaction of Krishna is a sannyasi. The dress does not sannyas, but the attitude of Krishna, but the attitude of service to Krishna is. The word Paramatma Nisht means being a devotee of Lord Krishna. Paramatma, the Supreme Person, is Krishna.
No, no.
Ishvara
Not Parama. Not Pari. Is
Para-
the word
Para-
Paratma Nishtha. Paratma Nishtha.
Nisht. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachit Anand Vigraha. Those who are completely dedicated to the lotus feet of Krishna in service are actually sannyasis. As a matter of formality, the devotee accepts the sannyasa dress as previous acharyas did. He also accepts the three dandas. Later, Vishnu Swami considered that accepting the dress of a tridanda was paratma nishtha. Therefore, sincere devotees add another danda, the Jeev danda, to the three existing dandas. The Vaishnava sannyasi is known as a Tridanda sannyasi. The Mayavadi sannyasi accepts only one danda, not understanding the purpose of tridanda. Later, many persons in the community of Shiva Swami gave up the Atmanishtha, devotional service of the Lord, and followed the path of Shankaracharya. Instead of accepting 108 names, those in the Shiva Swami Sampradaya follow the path of Shankaracharya and accept the 10 names of sannyas. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the then existing order of sannyas, namely Ekadanda, he still recited a verse from the order Ekadanda, he still recited a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam about the trident sannyas accepted by the Brahmana of Avantipura. Indirectly, he declared that within the Ekadanda, one danda, four dandas existed as one. Accepting Ekadanda sannyas without param nishtha, devotional service to the Lord Krishna is not acceptable to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In addition, according to the exact regulative principles, one should add the Jiva Danda to the Tridanda. These four dandas, bound together as one, are symbolic of unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. Because the Ek Dandi sannyasi of the Mayavadi school are not devoted to the service of Krishna, they try to merge into the Brahman effulgence, which is a marginal position between material and spiritual existence. They accept this impersonal position as liberation. Mayavadi sannyasis, not knowing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Tridandi, think of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an Ek Dandi sannyasi. This is due to their vivrit bewilderment. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no such thing.
Vivarta.
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 Vivarta. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no such thing as an Ekdandi sannyasi. Indeed, the Tridandi sannyasi is accepted as the symbolic representation of the sannyas order. By citing this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the sannyas order recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Mayavadi sannyasis who are enamored of the external energy of the Lord cannot understand the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To date, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, following in his footsteps, accept the sannyas order and keep the sacred thread and tuft of unshaved hair. The Ekadandi sannyasis of the Mayavadi school give up the sacred thread and do not keep any tuft of hair. Therefore, they are unable to understand the purport of Tridanda sannyasa, and as such, they are not inclined to dedicate their lives to the service of Mukunda. They simply think of merging into the existence of Brahman because of their disgust with material existence. The acharyas who advocate the Deva Varna Ashram, the social order of the Chaturvarnayam mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, do not accept the proposition of the Asur Varna Ashram, which maintains that the social order of the Varna is indicated by birth. The most intimate devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, namely Gadadhar Pandit, accepted Trident Sannyas and also accepted Madhav Upadhyay as his Tridandi sannyasi disciple. It is said that from this Madhvacharya, the Sampradaya known in Western India as the Vallabhacharya Sampradaya has begun. Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami, who is known as the Smriti Acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, later accepted the Trident Sannyas order from Tridandi Pad Prabodhanand Saraswati. Although acceptance of Trident Sannyas is not distinctly mentioned in the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, the first verse of Srila Rupa Goswami, Upadesh Matra, advocates that one should accept the Trident Sannyas order by controlling the six forces. Vacho Vegam Manash Krodh Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udar Pasti Vegam, Ita Vegam Yo Ushate Dira, Sarvam Apimam, Prithvivim Sha Sishya. One who can control the forces of speech, mind, anger, belly, tongue, and genitals is known as the Goswami and is competent to accept disciples all over the world. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never accepted the Mayavad order of sannyas, and for this they cannot be blamed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Sridhar Swami, who was a Tridandi sannyasi, but the Mayavad sannyasis, not understanding Sridhar Swami, sometimes think that Sridhar Swami belonged to the Mayavad Ekdanda sannyas community. Actually, this was not the case. Hare Krishna.
We're going to reread this, and please, I hope you have pen and paper. Because this is a very common book. We need to know what is a sannyasi, and what is Vaishnav sannyas, and what is a Mayavad sannyas. All right. So it's very important for us. So this shlok, so in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, so the sannyasis, they recite this verse. They recite this verse. Etam sasthaya paratmanishtam adyasitam purvatame mahanti aham tarishyami durantaparam tamo mukundam vrinuschevayaiva. So this is the shloka, the mantra in the sannyas mantra. So the sannyasis in ISKCON, they recite this. It's part of their sannyas. I don't know what other shlok is there, but this is there. So let's read it. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, text 23.57. And this is from the Avanti Brahmana. So this Avanti Brahmana, he was very stingy, extremely stingy. And but finally he got completely, he lost everything. And when he lost everything, then everybody was rejecting him, doing very nasty things, because he was such a nasty Brahmana, stingy Brahmana. So when he became devoid of all his wealth, possessions, so then the common people were making fun of him, throwing stone at him, etc., etc. So while all that was happening to him, he became detached. This Brahmana became detached. And he said, this is happening to me due to my past karma. That's why people are throwing stone at me and making fun of me, etc., etc. So then he recited, he spoke this verse. I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of nescience by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the mood of the sannyasi, that he will engage only, he's firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. So now let's read again what Prabhupada described here, and hope everybody's got pen, paper, or wherever you want to take the notes. In connection with this verse, which is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.23.57, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that of the 64 items required for rendering devotional service, acceptance of the symbolic marks of sannyas is a regulative principle. So do we know what are these 64 items? 64 items.
It is in Nectar of Devotion, na Mataji, the 64 items.
Yes, yes. So these 64 items of sadhana bhakti. If one accepts the sannyas order, his main business is what? And that is visible in all our ISKCON sannyasis, right? All of them, they're fully engaged in service. Their main business is to devote his life completely, right? That 1 foot here, 1 foot there, completely. So this is the main symptom, characteristic of a sannyasi. Now Prabhupada is going to elaborate on the principle of sannyas. If one does not completely devote his mind and body to the service of the Lord, he doesn't actually become a sannyasi. It is not simply a matter of changing dress. In the Bhagavad Gita 6.1, it is also stated, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. One who works devotedly for the satisfaction of Krishna is a sannyasi. The dress is not sannyas, the attitude of service to Krishna is. All right? Attitude of service to Krishna is sannyas. Not that all of us here we have to, one day put on the suffering cloth, right? So if each and every one, whatever our status is in our social life, right? So if we are engaged, one who is working, one who works devotedly with the satisfaction of Krishna. So meaning my every moment, and if he has the attitude of service to Krishna, attitude of service to Krishna, this is sannyas. Now, the word Paratma Nishtha means being a devotee of Lord Krishna. So Paratma Nishtha, meaning one has firm faith in the Supreme Lord, Paratma, that person who is higher than the Atma, so the Supreme Person. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Those who are completely dedicated to the lotus feet of Krishna in service. So if we are completely dedicated to the lotus feet of Krishna, this is a real sannyas. As a matter of formality, the devotee accepts the sannyas dress as previous acharyas did. So meaning that it's not absolutely and completely necessary to accept this dress. Main thing is the attitude. But because the previous acharyas, they accepted the dress, so Mahaprabhu is accepting the dress. He also, so as a matter of formality, the devotee accepts the sannyas dress as previous acharyas did. So now we should know that we should be able to recognize the dress of a sannyasi. Right? Sometimes we find people negligently, they are not sannyasis, but they negligently, they wear the lungi and they put on a kurta. All right? And I don't know how they tie their cloth, the sannyas cloth. You should know whether he's actually sannyasi or not. Because I saw it, they don't, I guess they didn't click to them, so they're panapras. They're not sannyasi. So we should be able to recognize. So sometimes we get confused who's a sannyasi, who's a vanaprast. So as a matter of formality, the devotee accepts the sannyas dress as previous acharyas did. He also accepts the 3 danda. So he's accepting the 3 dandas. Later, Vishnu Swami considered that accepting the dress of a 3 dandi was Paratma Nishtha. Therefore, sincere devotees add another danda, the Jiva danda, to the 3 existing danda. What is the meaning of this 3 danda?
मन क्रम वचन तीनों से भगवान को समर्पित हो.
All right, please note it down if you don't know. So these 3 danda is body, mind, and soul. So they are dedicated to service of the Supreme Lord. But then later, Sridhar Swami, Vishnu Swami, he added 1 more danda. So therefore, the Vaishnava sannyas is known as Tridandi sannyasi. The Mayavadi sannyasi are known as, they accept only 1 danda, not understanding the purpose of the 3 dandi. Okay, so 3 dandi and 1 danda. 1 danda. Mayavadi, they accept 1 danda. They say everything is one. You, me, and Paramatma, we are all one. So therefore, Eka danda. Later,
Sorry, Mataji, before we proceed. She said Mansa Vacha Karmana, and you said Mataji body, mind, and soul. So
yeah,
is
yeah,
it
same.
it's same, Mataji? Why?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I said it in English. Yeah, I said it in English.
Vacha is voice, na? Vacha is
Sorry?
Mansa Vacha Karmana. Vacha is
Yeah,
basically
Karmana Gira. Yeah. Body, mind, and
speech.
Speech.
Hmm.
Speech. Not soul. Speech. Speech. body, mind, and speech.
Words, no?
Yeah, words. Yes.
Not so.
Manasa karmana gira. Manasa karmana gira, your words, vacha. Okay, so Jiva Danda. So he put in Jiva Danda. The Vaishnav sannyasi is known as Tridandi sannyasi. The Mayavadi sannyasi accept only one danda, not understanding the purpose of the three danda. Later, many persons in the community of Shiva Swami, oh God, persons in the community of Shiva Swami gave up the Atma Nishtha devotional service of the Lord and followed the path of Shankaracharya. Instead of accepting, so this is somebody else. So we had Vishnu Swami, now we've got Shiva Swami, all right? So he gave up the path of the Atma Nishtha devotional service of the Lord and followed the path of Shankaracharya. Instead of accepting 108 names, those in the Shiva Swami Sampradaya follow the path of Shankaracharya and accept the 10 names of sannyas. So somewhere it's going to be described as 10 names. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the then existing order of sannyas, namely Ekadanda, he still recited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam about the three danda sannyas accepted by the Avanti Brahmana. Indirectly, he declared that within that Eka Danda, one Danda, 4 Dandas exist as one. You follow? You follow what he did? Please don't get confused, because you get so many story in this. That's why I'm reading it again.
Mataji, I did not understand about the Jiva Danda. What is the Jiva Danda? There's 3 Danda and there's Jiva Danda, then it becomes 4 Danda.
Yes. Yeah, meaning that's Jiva separate. Right?
Oh, Jiva
Jiva is separate from the Paramatma.
Oh.
When the Mayavadi is saying Eka Danda, he say we are all one. Right? And this three danda also represent what I said, body, mind, and soul, meaning me, my body, my mind, and my soul, all 3. All right. And also like using my 3 assets, right? My mind, my words, my what? My karma. What, right? I'm using everything in Krishna's service, right? And I'm separate from the Paramatma. All right? So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted which type of sannyas?
Ekadanda.
Ekadanda, all right. And
Yeah.
then what did he do? Amrita Radhe?
Mataji, but he recited this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam signifying that he wants to be engaged in basically 3 danda, like just like the 3 danda sannyas, he wants his mind, words, and body to be engaged in Krishna's service, emphasizing devotional service.
Yes. So indirectly, he declared that within that Ekadanda, one danda, 4 dandas exist as one. See how clever he is? It's just like impossible to do.
Danda he is talking about. Within that Ekadanda, one danda, 4 dandas existed. Which Ekadanda? That of these Mayavadis?
Yes, because Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas. What type of sannyas he took?
Yeah, Mayavad
Yeah, Ekadanda, right?
danda, yeah.
Why did he take Ekadanda?
Uh, she comes from the Bharati Sampradaya, I suppose, who was
Yes.
all
Prabhupada said there, Prabhupada explained it there. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the then existing order of sannyas. All
then
right?
उस टाइम पे ये मायावादी सन्यासी लोग थे,
there was not
Yes.
इसीलिए चैतन्य
Yes.
महाप्रभु ने उन्हें
Yes. Remember that the history of this Vedic Dharma went through so much disturbance, right? So much disturbance. So what was like Buddhism came and everything was finished, right? I heard that even Jagannath, the Buddhist captured Jagannath and it became like Buddhist, right? So Mahaprabhu, so he wanted to take sannyas, and we already know why. I hope you remember why Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas. But Vaishnavas were not giving sannyas. So who was giving sannyas? It's this Mayavad.
Bharati.
But I forgot who was that great Acharya who lived in the monasteries of the Mayavadis, but actually he was a Vaishnava. And when he came out, he was preaching Vaishnavism. So they were doing all these things because it's like you go to, like so many people, they go and study in the convents, right? The convent school, because that's what's available and you think it is a proper standard. So you go and study there, right? So same thing. So Mahaprabhu, he took the sannyas from Ekadanda from the Mayavad, because that's what they were, the ones who were giving sannyas and nobody else. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Right. So indirectly he declared that within that one Ekadanda, four dandas existed as well. Accepting Ekadanda sannyas without Paratma Nishtha, devotional service to Lord Krishna, is not acceptable to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All right?
Yeah.
Yes, Mahaprabhu is teaching that we are two and not one. So therefore, accepting Ekadanda sannyas without Paratma Nishtha, without is not acceptable to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In addition, according to the exact regulative principles, one should add the Jiva Danda to the 3 Danda. These 4 Danda bound together as one are symbolic of unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. Because the Ekadandi sannyasi of the Mayavad school are not devoted to the service of Krishna, they try to merge into the Brahman effulgence, which is a marginal position between material and spiritual existence. They accept this impersonal position as liberation. Mayavad sannyasis, not knowing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a 3-dandi, think of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an Ekadandi sannyasi. This is due to their bewilderment. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no such thing as an Ekadandi sannyasi. Indeed, the 3-dandi sannyasis accepted are the symbolic representation of the sannyas order. So in Bhagavatam, 3-dandi sannyas is mentioned, and this is why this Avanti Brahmana is reciting this verse. What is he saying? I shall cross over the insurmountable ocean of missiles by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. This was approved by the previous acharyas who were fixed in firm devotion to the Lord, Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they don't want to merge and become one with Brahman. So the Mayavadi sannyasis who are enamored by the external energy of the Lord cannot understand the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, this is quite common actually. This is quite common that, you are one among so many. I think everybody has this experience. You're one among so many. You look like them, but you are not one of them. Is it not? You look like them, right? But you're not one of them. So Mahaprabhu, he looks like he has, this Ekadanda, but actually in his mind it is Kodanda. All right. So the Mayavadi sannyasis who are enamored by the external energy of the Lord cannot understand the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's no use trying to make them understand. To date, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu following in his footsteps accept the sannyas order and keep the sacred thread and tuft of unshaved hair. So you have seen all our sannyasis, right? The Ekadandi sannyasi of the Mayavadi school give up the sacred thread. Oh, okay, so they don't wear the sacred thread. We didn't know that, right? So we only know about our our sannyasis, right? So these are Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they have sacred thread and they have this shikha. So Ekadandi sannyasi, the Mayavadi school, give up the sacred thread and do not keep any tuft of hair. Therefore, they are unable to understand the purport of Tridanda sannyas, and as such, they are not inclined to dedicate their lives to the service of Mukunda. They simply think of merging into the existence of Brahman because of their disgust with material existence. The acharyas who advocate the Devi Varnashram, the social order of Chaturvarnya mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, do not accept the proposition of Asura Varnashram, which maintain that a social order of Varna is indicated by birth. Something is missing there. So the Mayavadis, they simply think of merging in Brahman because they are disgusted with material existence. And they are not interested, right? They're not at all interested in like extending a relationship with anybody, right? Mayavadi sannyasi, when they take sannyas, they don't want any relationship with anybody. All right? And that's why they don't want a relationship with the Supreme Lord. They're done with it. They're completely done with it. So this Varnashram, so sannyas is within Varnashram, right? It's one of the ashrama in Varnashram. So this ashrama is according to qualification and not according to birth, right? I mean, it's just so strange. So Varna, usually we say, I'm Brahman by birth. But can you take sannyas by birth? Is it possible? Is it possible? So only Varna is by birth. Right? Only Varna is by birth. Ashrama, they can't take, right? My father, my father was a sannyasi, so therefore I'm also a sannyasi. Is it correct? I'm born, in the sannyas order. my father was a sannyasi, he took sannyas, so automatically I'm also a sannyasi. Right? I mean, this is very dangerous, right? I don't know if anybody does this in Bengal or anywhere else. That's why how sadhus, they say, yes, my father was a sannyasi. Sannyasi meaning that he lived by begging. He had disciples and he lived by begging. So if they also say, okay, my father lived by begging, so therefore I'm his son, and therefore you give me, donation, because my father was a sannyasi, I'm also a sannyasi. So it becomes big mess. Okay, so this is now we get a little bit of information about the Ekadandi sannyasi. So they give up the sacred thread and they have no shikha. So they shave off completely. The most intimate devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, namely Gadadhar Pandit, accepted three Dand sannyas and also accept Madhav Upadhyay as his three Dandi sannyasi disciple. It is said that from this Madhvacharya, the sampradaya known in Western India as the Vallabhacharya sampradaya has begun. So now Prabhupada is giving some history of how later the three Dandi sannyas became spread. So Gadadhar Pandit, he accepted three Dandi, and then he gave his three Dandi sannyas to his disciple Madhav Upadhyay. So this Madhav Upadhyay, so he spread the sampradaya known as Vallabhacharya in West India, in Gujarat, right, in Gujarat, Pushtimar. Then what happened next? Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who is known as the Smriti Acharya in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, later accepted the Tridanda Sannyas order from Tridandipad Prabodhananda Saraswati. Although acceptance of Tridandi Sannyas is not distinctly mentioned in the Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, the first verse of Srila Rupa Goswami Upadesh advocates that one should accept the Tridanda Sannyas order by controlling the six forces. One who can control the force of speech, vacha, chaha, manasa, vacha, manasa, krodha vegam. So this is one line, vacha, manasa, krodha. Jiva vegam, meaning the body now. Belly, tongue, and genital is known as a Goswami and is competent to accept disciples all over the world. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never accepted the Mayavad order of sannyas, and for this they cannot be blamed. All right. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted Sridhar Swami, who was a Tridandi sannyasi, but the Mayavadi sannyasis, not understanding Sridhar Swami, sometimes think that Sridhar Swami belonged to the Mayavad Ekadanda sannyas community. Actually, this was not the case. Maybe that was him, Sridhar Swami, who stayed among the Mayavad. I can't remember who it was. He stayed because they were the ones who were available. I gave the example of those convent schools, So see, in this Chaitanya Charitamrita, the history of our sampradaya is being discussed, so that you know properly who we are. Right? So whether Mahaprabhu was a Mayavadi sannyasi or not. So in his line, were they Mayavadis or not? Because they are connected with the Mayavad, but Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Mayavad Mat. And Sridhar Swami, I think that's him, he stayed among the Mayavadis in their mat.
Mataji, if Mayavadi sannyasis, they don't wear the sacred thread, that means they don't do Gayatri also.
I don't know what they do.
Then Sandhya Vandanam, they don't do that means.
I don't know what they do. Maybe they do, but without I have no idea.
And here it is mentioned that Gopal Bhatt Goswami ji was Smriti Acharya. What does Smriti Acharya mean,
Yeah,
Mataji?
like he gave this Hari Bhakti Vilas, right? Or he gave Hari Bhakti Vilas, which was like, see, we are all following like the all his deity worship manual that we are using, all whatever we are like the Tilak, etc. Right? So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he's from South India, right? He's from Sri Sampradaya. So our all his Vaishnava etiquette and all that, right? That's from him. Whatever we are following, the way we are dressed. Of course, he never imagined that everybody will wear, anything beside dhoti, kurta, and sari one day, right? He didn't know that. But at least he, put on the tilak, right? Kantimala, tilak, right? Like our initiation, all the rules and regulations for both men and women. We are following his Hari Bhakti Vilas, that's from him. So we are putting this, so we'll study that more in depth in Bhakti Sadachar course. I will put up the poster, right? So please, those of you who haven't studied Bhakti Sadachar, so please register for that. So we'll revise our Sadachar, Vaishnava etiquette, and Vaishnava practices, and 26 qualities of a devotee, and the 16 samskar, right? The 16 samskar that we do. And then we will have little discussion on the women from Bhagavatam, what we can learn from them. Amrita Radhe, yes, my dear.
Hari Krishna Mataji, then with Pranam.
Hare
Basically,
Krishna.
Mataji, I had two questions, but but whichever one you feel you want to answer, you may. First is that what is really the difference between our sampradaya and the Vallabhacharya sampradaya? Because their acharyas also took sannyas from Gadadhar Pandit, like how we read today. And as far as I remember hearing that Vallabhacharya and Mahaprabhu had a discussion, and there was a little bit of disconnect between just one or 2 points. So that is one question. Another is it says here in the purport that the sannyasis engage their body and mind in service of Krishna, but we read that Yamunacharya said that sometimes in his mind the thought of association of women comes and then he spits. So the point is that mind is so uncontrolled. So by that standard, I think nobody, I mean, at least as per my understanding, nobody will be eligible ever to become a sannyasi. So whatever your comments are, Mataji, on that.
Yeah, so so they had little, as you're saying, disconnects, but then later got rectified. Like among ourselves, we have some issue, and then it gets sorted out, right? So so he became Vallabhacharya, so he became the Pushti Marg. So he set up this Pushti Marg. So that's, is it okay, or should we be enemies eternally if we had a disagreement?
No, Mataji, basically, what is the difference then? Then they can just, we
Oh,
can just
yeah,
all say that
yeah.
we are from the same sampradaya, like
Oh,
that.
yeah. And I think Vallabhacharya, at that time, he was quite young, right? Was quite young, and he wrote a commentary on Shrimad Bhagavatam. And he said that his commentary is better than Sridhar Swami, right? So Mahaprabhu didn't like it, because he said that whatever we speak, we are all accepting Sridhar Swami's commentary. All right? And we already say that the Sridhar Swami, I think that's him, he was he was with the Mayavadis, he stayed in their monasteries, right? And still Mahaprabhu is accepting Sridhar Swami as the original commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vallabhacharya, I forgot his name before that. So he just he said, just see my commentary is better than Mahaprabhu. Like you said, see, I have written this poem, my poem is better than my Guru Maharaj, So you will get thrown out, isn't it?
I want to make one point, Mataji.
Hmm?
Difference is that Vallabhacharya Sampradaya, they worship 1 to 7-year-old Krishna. And in our Sampradaya, we worship Navyovan Krishna, 16-year Krishna. That is one difference. Because they worship small little Krishna. They worship like that way. Small Krishna, baby Krishna, they worship in Pushti Margi. They don't worship 16-year-old Krishna. So their all activities are like that, small baby Krishna.
So in terms of their mood, it is Balagopal, right? Laddu Gopal in Bombay, everybody has Laddu Gopal. And everybody wants Laddu Gopal, right? So this is, so this is their sampradaya, how they practice their worship. And Mahaprabhu's sampradaya is Gopi Bhartu Padakamalaya Dasa Dasa Mudas, right? So they worship Radha Krishna. And I forgot what you said, second thing I forgot.
Second thing was, Mataji, here it says, Prabhupada says that the sannyasis have to engage their body and mind in Krishna's service. Body is still possible, like we all do, our routine. But mind, even Yamunacharya writes a shloka and says that sometimes when the thought of associating with women comes to my mind, I spit at that thought. So it's quite difficult that someone can, constantly do devotional service through the mind. So
Yeah. So why he said this? Because actually there's a whole story behind this. Have you read the story of Yamunacharya?
yes,
Please
yes.
read. So you know, it comes with the history of Ramanacharya, right? So you know how he had defeated one pot Pandit, and he got the kingdom of that Pandit, of that king, right? He became a king. Now he's a Brahmana, he's like super Pandit, but he got caught into luxury, enjoyment, right? So then when he was there, so his original guru, I forgot exactly who, sent his disciples to get him out from sense gratification. Just see, how, I mean, that's a very big teaching, right? A very big teaching. He's a Pandit, and he mixed up with, kings. And when he got wealth, he forgot, right? He forgot that he was reminded So when he was reminded of that, so all that sense gratification, he said, "No, I don't care about this." That's when he wrote this Mukunda Mala Stotram, is it? That's Kulashekar.
Kulashek.
Kulashekar. Yeah, so Yamunacharya, yeah. So he spoke like this. To just make the point that what he was before, what he became, and now again he came out of it. So when he's thinking of sense gratification, right, or his past life, what he's done, right, and of course, all these thoughts and desires, it lingers in the mind, right? And so it's not that overnight I become a sannyasi, I become a liberated soul. We have to remember that, like in this memory, everything is stored. You don't know when suddenly, your past life comes up when you were a child, and then God knows what happened before you were born, right? Everything is in one drawer. It's stored there. Because we continue, right? We continue on, the soul continues on, but the hard drive, we carry the hard drive with us, right? So it is next to impossible to forget sense gratification. It's absolutely next to impossible because the imprints are there in the memory, right? It's imprinted. Cannot be deleted. Like, I don't know, I think you're good with computers, right? So you know the story that even if you delete something, it actually doesn't get deleted, it goes invisible to you, right? I don't know where it got stored. I don't know which garbage box it gets stored, right? And maybe some people know how to get back something that's been deleted, I don't know, right? So you cannot forget sense gratification. Impossible. So long as you have this body, it will continue with you, right? So therefore, the devotee surrenders to Krishna. That his past memories don't become an obstacle to him or her on his or her path of devotional service. That's why we take Diksha. Because when we take Diksha, we get the strength of Guru to stop all those memories from past life to come and bother us. Guru stops this. He literally stops that so that you are able to go forward, right? And now if our relationship with our Guru becomes loose, right? Then what happened? Your past life memories start to come back. Then you are not able to follow the regulative principles. Then you can't stop gossiping. Then you can't stop remembering your childhood when you were so happily doing this, that, and now you're suffering as a bhakta, right? You have to practice this. Before it was so easy going, right? Isn't it? No vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, everything was free, right?
So Mataji, this happens by the Guru at Harinam initiation itself.
As soon as you take shelter of Guru, as soon as you take shelter in mind itself, as soon as you take shelter of Guru, have you not noticed how you become so strong? As soon as within your heart, you accept the shelter of Guru and you pray. I hope every one of us, every single day without fail, is performing Guru Puja at home. I hope you're doing this. Doing Guru Puja and chanting Guru Mantra, right? Guru Vandanam and Guru Ashtakam. I hope every single day.
Mataji, inspired by you only. Once you had said years back that do Guru Puja every day, and since then every day, Mataji.
Okay, all right. So whenever if I'm falling, in sense gratification, or family attachment is coming and harassing me, right? Then what do? Then I have to remember my original family members. The Guru Parampara. Right? They are my original family members. Achyuta Gotra instead of whatever Gotra you're from. Achyuta Gotra. Then these, as I'm saying, the desire is not going to die, the memory is not going to die. But the force, Vachyo Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaropasta Vegam, they're vague. What is the meaning of vague? What's the meaning of vague?
Unstoppable. Like a wave, unstoppable.
Urges.
Urge.
Oh, urge. You want to go to the toilet, you have to go to the toilet, right? The urge comes, right? You want to speak, but you have to keep your mouth shut, right? You want to say something. This one said something, you are so angry with the person that you keep your mouth shut, right? So you are able to do it only because you go on studying this shlok from Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami saying, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Kroda Vegam. What should you do? Etan Vegam, you Vishaheta Jira. You control, you tolerate. Meaning within your control, right? You don't get dominated. You are able to do it only when you remember Guru. So everybody is doing the same thing. Everybody is doing the same. See, like this verse from Apichet Siddharachara. I think that's the verse from chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. So it says there, right, that a sadhu may slip and does something that's abominable, right? Speaks something abominable or thinks something abominable or does something abominable, right? A sadhu who's at high level and suddenly he does something or she does something improper. But Krishna is saying he's still considered what? Sadhu. Why? Why?
Because he's still working in the direction to please Krishna, although he may have some defects.
Yes, because Chipram Bhavati Dharamatma, right? Konteya Pratijaniri Name Bhakta Pranvashati. He's hold on, we see the sadhu, and in the purport Prabhupada is saying that this verse is a severe warning. It's a severe warning to the non-devotees not to criticize a sadhu if he has a slip or a fall. Right? And in context, these verses are there in context to prove the potency of bhakti. Just today we were hearing, it's a young boy, one young brahmachari who was giving the class, but these boys, they're really, really they're amazing classes. They're young, but they give such amazing classes. So he was saying, we within our ISKCON, we see, this one is fallen, that one is fallen. But do you know that in every mat they're falling? We only know about ours, but do you know that in every mat they're falling? Right? And not only among, what we call Hindus, among the Christians also, and the Muslims also, right? Everybody, because you're declaring war against Maya, right? You want to control something, right? So, which is quite lengthy. So we are making the point that we may the urge doesn't die just because you say now I'm becoming you. Urge doesn't die, right? Only when you're completely free from this body. We read somewhere in Bhagavatam that subtle body is burnt up, right? At the time of liberation, right? So only then, meaning unless your subtle body is absolutely and completely burned up, those thoughts and experiences doesn't die. So when we make ourselves eligible, it's what we call samskara, right? So when we become eligible to go back home, back to Godhead, meaning that when our gross body is burned and our subtle body also is absolutely completely dissolved, then all those memories will die. So that is possible only when we are praying to Krishna. When will I come back to you and serve you and the gopis? Right? When we have only this one desire, when will I come back to you and serve you and the gopis only, not others, right? So Rashmi, we were very late. We already, my God, 1.17 minutes. Okay, tell me, Rashmi.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Bhanu Maharaj was here last year.
Your video, what happened to your video?
Mataji, because I am walking to the hospital, so I've kept the video off.
Okay. Okay.
So Mataji, Bhanu Maharaj was here, and this point which we were talking about, that about the initiation and all that. So he addressed that point. The whole class was basically on that, and he said that in the Bhakti Sandarbhas, Jiva Goswami is saying that when somebody surrenders to or accepts a shiksha, a guru, and so the process where you said that this urge to sense gratification, the minute you start following his siksha, then that comes to an end. Formal initiation is not a necessity. So Mataji, please, because that was quite a very different class. I had never heard something like that, and Bhanu Maharaj is very well respected. He is very scholarly Maharaj. So Mataji, please elaborate on that.
No, he's not saying that Diksha is not required. He's not saying that at all. I'll send you, you can listen to it. Do you have it recorded?
Mataji?
Do you have that class recorded in your?
Yeah, find it. I will find it and send. I will try to find it. Yes, it will be on the temple website.
Yeah. So you listen to it again, and then you have to understand what he's saying. He's not saying at all that we don't take Diksha. That's not at all what he's saying. The Shiksha is part of the Diksha. Right?
So I asked him, Mataji, categorically, I asked him this question at the end, that, so Maharaj, you're saying, and few others also asked. So Maharaj, I asked him that, Maharaj, so you are saying that it is not essential. So he's saying, yes, I'm saying that it is not essential. You have to follow the Siksha. That is essential. He was very clear in what he said. And we were all very surprised by that class.
So you send it to me?
Yes, Mataji, I will find it and I will send it.
Yeah, and I will send you what the class he gave here in June.
Okay, Mataji. Okay.
All right.
Mataji.
Okay. Just like we read this whole purport, right? You found how many things we didn't understand, right? That's why we had to reread it. So it's not that Maharaj is saying you don't take Diksha. Not at all. I'll just send it to you. All right. Okay. Hare Krishna.
अनंत कोटि
Right.
हरे कृष्ण